Hello, my name is Erica, and I'm the Dyslexic Trekkie. Star Trek Revised is a series I planned where I will look over episodes that are poorly written or insensitive to social issues. Because I have a habit of taking on bigger projects than I probably should, I'm starting with what I think is likely the most overtly racist episode of TNG, if not the whole franchise. Code of Honor was so bad the writer was fired after it aired. The real question is, how the hell did it get that far? No writers, no actors, or the director noticed? To start off, I'll go over my ground rules for revising storylines. The first is, I can't significantly change existing characters. I can't save or kill off any characters that weren't already saved or killed off in the story. I can't rewrite the plot in any way other than to address the key issues that make this a bad episode. Finally, I can't alter the cultures of aliens unless they aren't seen again. If I do make changes, they have to make sense in the story. Lastly, I can't deem something as bad just because I don't like it. There has to be an underlying reason. Now that the rules are out of the way, I'll give a quick summary of the episode as it aired. And I promise this one will actually be quick. The episode starts off with a crisis the Enterprise is assigned to resolve. A planet named Styrus 4 is suffering from a life-threatening pandemic whose vaccine can only be found on Lygon 2, a comparatively primitive planet. However, it happens to have a vaccine to this virus. They also happen to be advanced enough to know about the Federation without actually being warp capable, an issue I intend to address. During a highly ritualized ceremony, Lutan, a delegate from this planet, offers the cure to Captain Jean-Luc Picard and introduces his entourage. Picard introduces his team, including Lieutenant Yar. It becomes clear the Enterprise's guests find her captivating. After necessary interactions have been observed, the head of security shows the Lutan delegates around, showing them advanced martial arts training. When it's time to leave, the delegation kidnaps Lieutenant Yar for Lutan. Captain Picard, after some discussion with the crew, goes to Lutan and asks for Yar back. It was decided that this was a show of strength on their part, and as a way of humoring the people, he formally asks for Yar back with a show of humility as a sort of, okay, you got me attitude. This is when Lutan says he just can't bring himself to part with Yar. He says he intends on marrying her, much to the displeasure of his wife, Urena. She makes a challenge to Yar, a battle to the death. After some investigation on Picard's part, and a little mind games on Troy's part, we learn that Lutan wants to marry Troy not for love, but because the land he gets his wealth from is his wife's, not his. In this culture, men lead, but all wealth belongs to women. By some quirk in the planet's inheritance laws, he'll inherit her land if Urena dies under specific circumstances. One such option is combat against a new wife. With this knowledge, the Enterprise makes a plan to win the fight, but not kill Urena, and leave Tasha still single. The big fight happens. The two fight to the death with the big murder mittens. Tasha, quick time, is beamed up to the Enterprise with Urena. Lutan comes aboard, angry that both his potential wives have been whisked away. This is where he finds his still-living first wife. Dr. Crusher saved her, but not after she was deemed technically dead. This dissolved the marriage, leaving our antagonist wifeless, and more importantly to him, landless. Urena chooses a new husband, a man who called out for her as she died, and takes her former husband as a second because polyamory is a thing in this culture. As you might guess, I've got some feelings about this episode. I've thought long and hard about Code of Honor and how it could have gone over people's heads. I've got one theory, and it has to do with the race theories from the late 80s and early 90s. I'm not talking about critical race theory, a college-level course taught in universities, to help learn about the modern impact of racism on our culture. I'm talking about the views we had then on how to end racism. We genuinely believed that if we stopped seeing race, then racism would eventually disappear. Keiko O'Brien isn't Japanese, she's human. Miles O'Brien isn't Scotch, he's human. Picard isn't French, he's British. I mean human. They are from those regions of the world, but they're all humans first, and from those regions second. We genuinely believed that this was how we could end racism. Then Republicans invented the dog whistle. I mean racists, who mostly belong to one party. That is now represented by an elephant. So to outline my plan, I'll first lay out the moments that have to happen. 1. There is a planet-wide pandemic, and this is the only source for a treatment. 2. The leader has a reason to want to take Tasha Yar as a wife, and she is taken to the planet to marry him. 3. The crew of the Enterprise has to work within the constraints of the culture to get Yar back. 4. A fight between Yar and the first wife has to take place, and it has to be to the death. 5. Urena dies in the battle and is revived by Dr. Crusher, leaving the marriage dissolved. 6. Urena asserts her authority, choosing the man who clearly showed love and concern for her welfare. She accepts her former husband as a second because there really is nothing wrong or primitive about polyamory. 7. The ship leaves with Tasha Yar still their head of security. The next thing I'd like to talk about are why there are some things I don't want to change. I was strongly tempted to start this video with a recording of me throwing the script in the trash and saying, "There, all better." But I think that does a disservice to all the very important things Code of Honor could be. First off, name one other episode that is centered on the story of Tasha Yar. That is before she dies. Her legs are seen, more often than her face, as a backdrop for Picard's head while he's in the center seat. Tasha is a more dynamic character after her death than she ever was alive, which is a genuine shame. She was a strong woman who overcame true adversity, and we never see much of her story. I don't think they ever even explained how she got off the failed colony before she dies. That would have been an incredible episode to show. Maybe I'll have to write an outline for how I think that would have gone. Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. The second point is both the problem and a real lost potential. Name one other alien race played exclusively by black actors. I can identify dozens of races played exclusively by white actors. I can think of a few who were strictly blonde-haired with blue eyes. This is the one time they followed through with an all-black cast for at least one part of the story, and it's a primitive race who appear to be solely focused on land acquisition and earning hollow titles. And let's not bring up the idea of primitives enjoying multiple spouses. None of that overshadows the issue. A primitive black leader kidnapped the one blonde in the show because she's superior. Call me the woke police, call me the bleeding heart liberal. It doesn't change the fact that this episode played out just about every negative trope we have about racial relations that one can imagine, and it doesn't have to. My point is to show that the story could have been done better. It wasn't something that could only be shown in this one light. And most of the racist undertones were there to show a point. European culture's good. Other culture's bad. Total nonsense. This is where I'm going to have to end the video. I wanted this to be a one part, but there's no practical way to do it. I'll work on the revision and share it in the future Star Trek Revised. Until then, please share any episodes you'd like to see edited to improve writing issues or sensitivity to a social issue. I'd appreciate the feedback. If you want to see how I do this one first, I understand, but feel free to think about it until then. Thank you for watching. If you like this subject, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any thoughts, feelings, or ideas on this subject, please share in the comments below. Again, my name is Erica, and I'm the Dyslexic Trekkie. Do you have anything to say? Yeah, he's just put me down, Mom. All right, you've been a good boy.